The U.S. Marine Corps has committed a detachment of Lockheed Martin F-35Bs to the UK Royal Navy's HMS Queen Elizabeth aircraft carrier for its first overseas deployment this year. Former Acting Secretary of Defence Christopher Miller and UK Secretary of State for Defence Ben Wallace co-signed the joint declaration for the Carrier Strike Group 2021 deployment on 19 January. Miller stepped down on 20 January after recently inaugurated President Joe Biden replaced him with Acting Secretary of Defence David Norquist. The agreement commits an undisclosed number of F-35B short takeoff and vertical landing aircraft, U.S. Navy personnel and equipment and the USS The Sullivans, an Arleigh Burke-class Aegis-guided missile destroyer, to the UK-US Combined Carrier Strike Group. Other ships are to be committed to the Carrier Strike Group at a later time. The Royal Netherlands Navy previously had said it would also contribute warships. This deployment underscores the strength of our bilateral ties and demonstrates US-UK interoperability, both of which are key tenets of the US national defense strategy. The leaders look forward to seeing the culmination of nearly a decade of US-UK carrier cooperation when Carrier Strike Group 2021 sets sail from Portsmouth, UK later this year. British officials previously signaled the carrier and its support ships could transit through the South China Sea, where the U.S. regularly conducts freedom of navigation operations in disputed waters claimed by China. The Royal Navy and Royal Air Force also operate the F-35B. The USMC deployed 15 examples aboard HMS Queen Elizabeth last September as part of training exercises to prepare for joint force operations. The UK government has yet to order its full 138 example program of record for the F-35B, with only 48 aircraft on order. That means it is short of aircraft to fill HMS Queen Elizabeth and its other new carrier HMS Prince of Wales. Joint deployments with USMC F-35Bs are intended to help backfill the missing aircraft. Joint carrier deployments are also a growing part of NATO operations, intended to add flexibility and additional airpower as needed. The joint declaration supports UK Carrier Strike Group, led by the UK's aircraft carrier, HMS Queen Elizabeth, on its inaugural deployment this year. The Carrier Strike Group will be complemented by US Marine Corps and US Navy personnel and equipment, including a detachment of US Marine Corps F-35B Lightning II aircraft and the US Navy's destroyer, USS The Sullivans. USS The Sullivans is a Flight I Arleigh Burke-class ship displacing over 8,000 tons and fitted with 90 Mk-41 VLS cells. The ship is home-ported in Mayport, Florida. The Carrier Strike Group has reached initial operating capability. An operational deployment later this year will see the Royal Navy HMS Queen Elizabeth Carrier Strike Group sail in the Mediterranean Sea, the Persian Gulf, South China Sea and end up in the Pacific in waters near Japan. The ship will carry 24 F-35B jets, including U.S. Marine Corps aircraft, in addition to a number of helicopters. British Defence Secretary Ben Wallace and U.S. Acting Defence Secretary Christopher Miller co-signed a joint declaration approving the deployment of U.S. Marine and U.S. Navy assets as part of a carrier strike group led by the HMS Queen Elizabeth, the British Ministry of Defence announced. U.S. assets attached to the Carrier Strike Group will include a detachment of Marine F-35Bs and the destroyer the Sullivans. The U.S. military has been regularly flying its short takeoff and vertical landing F-35Bs from the deck of the 65,000-ton Queen Elizabeth as the new carrier tests its capabilities. The Carrier Strike Group achieved initial operating capability in December 2020. The inclusion of Marine combat jets on the warship has long been planned by the two governments, not least because Britain has a modest numbers of F-35Bs available. The British carrier also will deploy Leonardo-built Merlin helicopters for anti-submarine missions and other duties. Wallace said in a statement that the UK now possesses a 21st-century carrier strike capability, which has been greatly assisted by the unswerving support and cooperation of the US at all levels over the past decade. This deployment embodies the strength of our bilateral ties and reflects the depth and breadth of this vital defense and security partnership. The British government has not officially announced where the deployment is expected to take the carrier force, but Prime Minister Boris Johnson previously said the group would be going to the Mediterranean, Indian Ocean and the Pacific region. That's expected to include Singapore, South Korea, Japan and Oman. Britain has a naval support base in the latter. A second carrier, the HMS Prince of Wales, was commissioned in late 2019 and is scheduled to become operational in 2023. It was hit by a serious flooding incident last year, which caused the cancellation of a trip to the U.S. Eastern Seaboard for trials with the F-35B.